fresh meat.
Today, for the horror movie that almost was, we're trying to get into the holiday spirit. And what says Christmas cheer more than a small furry creature that you can't feed after midnight? Or keep in bright light? Or get wet? Or, well, I guess those are all the rules. You know what we're talking about. Today is all about Gremlins 3. When it comes to Christmas time, there are only a few films horror fans have to get them in the scary holiday spirit. Whether that's Bob Clark's Black Christmas, Silent Night Deadly Night, or even a more recent feature in Krampus, the options are quite limited. Yet one film that propels itself to the forefront is Joe Dante's Gremlins. Something about this film manages to be scary,
They hatched. Get out of the house.
fun, and yes, even Christmassy.
Sit by the fireplace and open your Christmas presents, okay? Attaboy.
But let's back up for those that need a crash course on the Mogwai. In the first Gremlins, we follow Billy Peltzer, played by Zach Galligan, as he tries to help support his family, keep his dog out of trouble, get promoted at his terrible job, and get a date with the girl of his dreams.
I'd love to.
He's a great guy that you're rooting for throughout, despite the fact that he can't seem to follow instructions.
Number one, he hates bright lights. Sunlight will kill him. Number two, keep him away from water. And probably the most important thing, don't ever feed him after midnight.
Really, if you have a rule, Billy isn't going to follow it. Its sequel, Gremlins 2: A New Batch, takes that holiday cheer and replaces it with a more meta look at the television industry, foregoing the Christmas element. That's right, we get to watch Billy during his job at a TV studio, because that's why we cared so much about the first film, Billy's journey towards a promotion. Right. While not the runaway success that the first film was, audiences were still left wanting more, so they waited for a sequel, and waited some more. Rumors sprung up over the years to varying degrees of truth. It always seemed like movie studios just never understood what to do with the franchise, especially given the true stars of the film, the puppets. That's right, the main attraction of the series were always the Gremlins themselves.
I'll bet every kid in America would like to have one of these. They might even replace the dog as the family pet.
In particular, the Mogwai known as Gizmo. The practical effects work in both films managed to impress like no other. These effects are a major reason as to why these films feel timeless, and is often at the top of the wish list when it comes to getting another sequel. Even this fan film from 2008 knew what their bread and butter would be, and painstakingly recreated these puppets in order to avoid CGI. The video was practically a demo reel for the young filmmaker, clearly wanting a creative role in the third film. Inserting the Gremlins into classic movies was exciting, and it seemed like a sequel would be made any day now, except it never gained enough momentum to manifest into an actual feature film. The interest was clearly there, but it was left, relegated to rumor for years. Original star Zach Galligan has always been very vocal about his love for the Gremlins franchise and his desire to return to the role of Billy. He's even started several Twitter campaigns to try and show just how much interest there is from the general public for more Gremlins content. Finally, it was revealed that the film's original writer, Christopher Columbus, was working with Carl Ellsworth on Gremlins 3, and it would see Galligan returning. Not only that, but it was also promised to feature practical puppets, not CGI. There were even rumors that there was a part for Phoebe Cates to return as Billy's love interest, as stated by Ellsworth. There was, I believe, a smaller role for Billy's girlfriend, but Gizmo was at the very core of the story. It explored more of the mythology and the history of the Gremlins. Making sure the story revolved around Gizmo seemed to be the right call, no matter what other characters surrounded him. He's always been the standout of the series, and he's beloved in any capacity. Finding more about the history of the Gremlins seemed like a logical next step, and one we'll discuss in a little bit. The script for Gremlins 3 is even said to feature the moral conundrum of whether or not to kill Gizmo in order to stop all the madness. It's an interesting concept and one that fans have debated for years. So it'd be fascinating to see this kind of question posed to the film's characters. But would they actually go through with it? Or just have it mentioned as an idea? Either way, it's a story element that would be intriguing for a third film. But then, out of nowhere, Gremlins 3 turned into a Well, a reboot. That's right. The thing that we were promised the film would never be became exactly that. But apparently Christopher Columbus had different ideas and wanted to retool the franchise without the need to carry past characters over into the new film. This isn't a huge surprise because, despite Galligan stating that the proposed sequel would honor both Gremlins films that came before, Columbus has always been very vocal about his dislike for the second film. The fans, however, have really latched on to the wacky sequel, so ignoring it would really alienate the same people they wanted to pack the theaters with. By rebooting the series, he was able to forego that problem entirely. Thankfully, the movie stalled again, and talks of the reboot seemed to stall completely. One of the biggest factors getting in the way of a third Gremlins film seemed to always be one of rights issues. Both Christopher Columbus and original star Zach Galligan have mentioned issues with the rights, and given that Warner Brothers obtained the license in 2019, the issue appears to stem from Warner. Seeing as how they are producing their own prequel show for HBO Max entitled Secrets of the Mogwai, it could simply be a case of not wanting to overlap properties that are tonally opposite. So at this point, we may just have to play the waiting game. Don't fret though, just because we're getting Gremlins in a different form doesn't mean Gremlins 3 is completely dead. In fact, we recently caught word from the film's original writer, Christopher Columbus, about his version for Gremlins 3, and not only that, he actually has it all written and everything. He has said that this would return to the macabre tone of the original. He originally worked with Ellsworth on Gremlins 3, but it's unknown if Columbus's new version is the Ellsworth version or not, though that likely seems to be the case. Regardless of what happens, the new HBO Max show is a step in the right direction. The show will be going over the complete history of the Mogwai, and how these creatures came to be. That means a potential Gremlins 3 wouldn't have to address the history and can get right to giving us what we want. Gizmo and Billy trying to prevent some kind of catastrophe. Because really, that's the main event. There's still certainly reason to be skeptical though. We've seen many different series come back from an extended amount of time off to limited success. And as much as Columbus wants to take credit for the original film's success, much of that success would be contributed to the film's director, Joe Dante, as well as its producer, Steven Spielberg, who were both very creatively hands-on for the first film. In 2017, Joe Dante said he'd love to make Gremlins 3, even stated that he wanted it to be rated R. But as of this moment, he's unfortunately not involved. And without either of these two creative minds being involved, it can't automatically be assumed that Columbus's involvement will be enough to make up for the lack of Dante and Spielberg. I know that whatever happens, I'll be holding out hope for another entry in the series, because it's been too long since we've had these creatures wreaking havoc on screen, and that's something every generation needs to experience. I mean, how else are they supposed to know about proper Mogwai care? Thank you for watching our show. If you like what you see, please subscribe to our JoBlo Horror Videos channel, tell your friends who like this sort of content, and turn on the bell to receive notifications for all of our latest videos. We're an independent company, and we appreciate all of your support.